Do not get stuck in this mentality. What's up guys, welcome to today's video. Today we are touching on the typical dieting mentality. Now I personally like to break these down into two simple categories. The first one being called shiny object syndrome, and the second one being my personal favorite, what I like to call the fucked up merry-go-round. Starting with the first one, shiny object syndrome. This is where you'll go from the keto diet to intermittent fasting to the 5-7 diet to, whatever it is. And there's three main reasons why you'll do this. Reason number one, you can't find something that's sustainable. Reason number two, you can't commit for long enough to see good results. Or reason number three, you have unreasonable expectations from this diet, and if you don't see massive changes very quickly, you look for the next thing, hence the shiny object syndrome. I see this all the time with clients and people that reach out to me and basically give me a rundown of what's going on. We are going to go over exactly what I recommend you guys do to get out of this kind of dieting mentality at the end. But before we do that, let's move on to the fucked up merry-go-round. This very annoying merry-go-round that you find it very hard to get off is basically the same as the starve, binge, repeat cycle. That's all it is. The reason I like to call it that is because if you've ever been on a ride and you really want to get off but you can't, that's how it can feel stuck in this dieting mentality. Now, there's three main reasons why this can be happening as well. The first one is you've been dieting for way too long. The second is your diet, or AKA your calorie deficit, is way too big. The third is where you are so restrictive with your food choices that you basically can't sustain it. Even if your deficit is good, your body's sending you signals like, hey, dickhead, I'm craving stuff, like this is boring, let's go out and smash a pizza and 10 donuts, and basically you can't withstand that and you basically give in. Essentially, if it's not starving, even if you're eating enough, if in the last category, if you're just so restrictive, it leads back to that kind of binge mentality repeat cycle. Now, as you can already see, all six of those categories, they're kind of similar and they all come down to being able to sustain your plan. So covering number one, if you've been in that diet for way too long, you have to take into consideration that our bodies do not like dieting. Our bodies like homeostasis, and we do need a certain amount of body fat to survive and thrive. Hence why it doesn't want to let you absolutely stay shredded year round. Yes, I'm aware that there are some absolute genetic freaks out there, and there are a few outliers to this rule, and they're basically the 0.1% that can stay shredded year round and eat basically whatever they want. But we are not them. If this is you and you have been in that diet for so long trying to do that, I would highly recommend bumping your calories back up to maintenance or even a slight surplus for a decent amount of time. Let your homeostasis, I say that in quote marks because people take it out of context, but let your set point, as I like to call it, build up to a high calorie tolerance. So get your calories nice and high before you decide to diet again. You don't want to go into a diet already on low calories because it's not going to work. And don't forget, as I mentioned, your body doesn't like dieting. So if you have been in a diet or a deficit for a long period of time, then it's definitely time for a diet break or just a break in general, coming your calories back up to maintenance or more where they want to be. Get yourself reset, get better habits, get a better plan next time, and then do it properly. If you fall into the other category and your deficit is just way too big, that's a very simple fix. All you need to do is just increase your calories a little bit. So you're still in a calorie deficit, you're still going to get wicked results, but you're not going to be in an insane calorie deficit where you cannot sustain it. And if you fall into category number three, and if you love food, then this is a simple fix as well. When I say simple, I say it is simple, but I can completely understand that sometimes mentally it is a big challenge. And all you need to do is just loosen the grip on your food choices. Don't necessarily have to go all in and let yourself eat whatever you want. Obviously, still keep it in your macros and slowly reintroduce some of your more favorite food. Depending on obviously how restricted you've been with yourself, this might be as simple as adding in fruits. I know people that only eat meat, well, they say they only eat meat and greens. They only eat meat and greens, and this causes massive binges because that's a shit life. So if that's you, you don't have to go from just eating meat and greens to like adding everything in. Just you can start by adding in some fruits, bread, pasta, I don't know, some sweets here and there, some ice cream, whatever it is. You guys get the point. Now, again, I completely understand with this one, this can often be the hardest one out of all three, because if you've restricted yourself for so long, it can be a very big mental barrier between what you're doing now, what you think's okay, and what actually is okay. So like I said, just take your time, ease into it. You don't have to go head first. From experience, I was stuck in that kind of third category for 2 years. I was basically eating so clean all the time that at least once a week or once a fortnight, I would put away the biggest cheat meals, like absolute binge, next level binge. It was kind of disgusting, to be honest. And this not only led to like an obviously very unhealthy mindset with food, it led to shitty progress. And in those 2 years, I basically made 0 gains whatsoever. My deficit stuff would be going good, and then I'd have a binge and it would put me back to where I was, if not further, and then again and again, and then so on. So if you fall into that category or any of these categories, the good news is you can fix it. Now, apart from that tip I just gave about easing into it, if you fall into any of these 6 categories, then you really need to get very, very clear on your goal, and you need to be very specific. I find this helped me, and this helps a lot of my clients, because I help a lot of people that fall into these categories a lot. The reason you need to be super clear on your goal is because this is going to avoid getting stuck in the diet forever, because you're very, very clear on it, and then you realize how long it's going to take. This is also going to avoid you doing a massive deficit, because you're going to plan out the time, and you're obviously, hopefully, going to be smart with your food choices, and you're going to let yourself live a little, and you're going to let yourself enjoy those tasty treats. So whatever plan you decide to do to get to that goal, whether you want to hire a coach, get them to help you, whether you're going it alone and you're going to try and learn yourself, either way, you want to be asking yourself these 3 questions when you make that plan. Number 1, is this approach going to get me there? Number 2, how long is this approach going to take? And number 3, is this approach sustainable? The reason you have to ask yourself all 3 of those questions is because they all work together. Now, keep in mind, obviously, the more body fat you have to lose, the more weight you want to drop, the longer this is going to take. But that is why it's very important to ask yourself those 3 questions and figure out a plan that is going to work with all 3. For some people, that might mean an 8 to 12 week diet, and they'll be able to hit their goal sustainably. They'll be able to keep the result. If you have a lot more weight to lose, it might mean a 6-month goal. It might even mean a 12-month goal. As long as you have that plan of attack to get there, you're going to do it sustainably, and you're not going to restrict yourself too much. You'll be sweet. But one thing I really want to drive home is making sure that it is sustainable once you get to that end goal. Something I see a lot when new clients come to me, and people I talk to in general, is they got to their goal, or they've made a start, they've lost that first 3, 4, 5 kilos. They only want to lose another 3 or 4, but they're stuck. When I ask them how long it took, and the answer is very, very quick, that's often sometimes the problem. And then I dig a bit further, and they tell me about their diet, and basically they've just done it way too fast. It's not sustainable, and they've kind of done a crash diet, so to speak. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that one. Just make sure whatever your approach is, whether it's keto, whether it's intermittent fasting, it doesn't really matter. As long as you can sustain it, that's all that matters. I hope this helped. Feel free to reach out to me, ask me any questions you need. I would love to help out. And let me know if you do want me to dive further into any of this. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one.